welcome again to the Crypto Drive. This is episode number 2. Well, this episode, I'm once again driving, and I'm talking about anything to do with crypto, blockchain, cryptocurrencies, whatever's new and latest. Today, unfortunately, I didn't have too much time to prepare. Well, I haven't prepared at all. So I'm just going to ad-lib this one. We're just going to have a bit of a chat. Let's talk a bit about, I think, the dangers and possible pitfalls of using Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. Talk about maybe the Bitcoin apocalypse. Now, here's a couple of things that can go wrong. Right? I'm sure you've heard of this upcoming halving of the Bitcoin mining rewards. For those of you who don't know, most people know, but there's still a lot of people that don't know. I didn't know this until not too long ago, but it happens every 4 years apparently, to increase the mining difficulty, and that's basically to keep up with modern day technology that keeps on getting faster, so it doesn't kind of sort of overrun the mining system. It's supposed to keep on increasing the mining difficulty in proportion to the rate which technology develops. Like your mining computer rigs, the Asics. By the way, I don't know if you've heard the word Asics, but those are called, let me get this right, application specific. I got it wrong. It's application specific something. Anyway, I get it. So today my mind's finished. Anyhow, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will write it in a comment above this what it is when I get back home and I can see what it is again. But I know it's application specific. I think it's integrated chip, but I could be wrong. Okay.
Ricardo, this is Amanda, your virtual co-pilot. Let me help you. I know your memory isn't what it used to be. The acronym Asik stands for Application Specific Integrated Circuit. Thank you. Please continue.
Those type of machines are specifically developed with specific components to be able to mine certain types of coin. For example, one that is good at mining Bitcoin wouldn't necessarily be good at mining Ethereum, for example. Ethereum uses a different protocol to what Bitcoin uses, which is supposed to be non-ASIC friendly. But in time, there will become more powerful ASICs that will be able to mine Ethereum. But again, Ethereum is moving away from proof of work to proof of stake, which means there won't be any more mining here per se. So anyway, that's another story. But where I was going with that is, okay, what are the dangers behind this, every 4 yearly halving of the mining rewards? Well, what's going to happen is miners are going to be found to be unprofitable, and they're going to switch off their machines because machines are going to waste more electricity than the amount of coins that they're producing. Return on investments are going to shrink. You won't get return on investments so soon, and it's not going to be profitable for them anymore. So, what does that mean? Well, that means only the large mining concerns will still continue to mine Bitcoin, if that's the case. People who can afford it, the rich people who can just go out and buy whatever hardware they want. But the average middle class can't participate in the mining of Bitcoin and in the decentralization, which slowly makes Bitcoin more and more centralized. I wouldn't be surprised if one day there is one mining concern that does all the mining. Already we have one country. China is responsible for most of the mining, Bitcoin mining. Now, quick one, just for people who don't know what mining is, it's basically computing power, either CPU or GPU, which is the graphics processing power, that is allocated to processing transactions on the blockchain, basically verifying payments that have been made across the globe by different people. So you need computing power for that. And if you put your computer online, or your Asik device online, and you basically tell it to mine Bitcoin or whatever currency you want, it will start, it will first download the entire blockchain, which is the central repository of all Bitcoin transactions, and it will then keep on downloading more of the blockchain and verifying it against new transactions. So anyhow, when this stops happening on a global scale and becomes more centralized, you'll get monopolies. You can control the outcome. You can control basically the supply of the coins. If they're mining it, they can own the coins. They can decide what prices to sell it at. They can decide to hold it, or issue it out, depending on what they feel like. And that could be problematic. It's the only thing I don't like about Bitcoin. You know, if mining could have just been more simple and not related to someone's budget. It's very capitalist at the moment. If you have enough money to buy the hardware that's the best performing, you're going to make the most money. So the rich get richer. It's not very Robin Hoodsy. I don't know, that's the only thing that doesn't really support my idealistic views, I guess. Which is, I don't know, I kind of, I'm not sure. I don't know if there's a coin out there that's got a better way of doing things, but I'm not too fond of that. It'll be nicer if, it could be done in a ratio, like the amount of time that your system is online, you get rewarded for that, because that doesn't necessarily discriminate against how much money you have, just as how long you leave your computer on, regardless of whether it's an old Pentium 2 or if it's a fast machine. That would be, I would say, more equitable to the masses, but not necessarily equitable in terms of the amount of processing power it can put through. So yeah, that's the next problem. So our issue number one is possible centralization of Bitcoin, taken away from the hands of the people. One global bank, again, being controlled by a single entity or a single country. And look, I suppose there are ways that the Bitcoin group will try and circumvent this sort of thing, but I don't know, it looks like it could happen. I mean, I myself can't really mine Bitcoin without shelling out for expensive hardware, so I don't see how I can participate in mining Bitcoin. Maybe I can do some of the other altcoins that are a bit easier, but yeah, not Bitcoin at the moment. Yeah, that's one problem. Then, while we're on the topic of holding back supply, I was just thinking, what about the founder of Bitcoin, Satoshi? Now, Satoshi apparently has a stash of huge amount of Bitcoin. I don't know how much it is. I read it somewhere or heard it somewhere. It's like millions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, probably even billions by now. I don't really know. I'm sure if you Google it, you can find out how much he holds. Apparently it's inactive. He's just storing it. And someone made a comment on somewhere, I don't remember where I saw that, but someone said, yo, you know what would be great? What will really stimulate Bitcoin is if Satoshi decides to issue some Bitcoin from his stash to people who are participating in Bitcoin for the first time. So newcomers who come on board, he will give them a certain percentage for trying out Bitcoin as an incentive, and that will really start a Bitcoin revolution. Alright, fair enough, I can see how that could work, as long as he doesn't do it like for like. If he does it in such a way that for every 1 Bitcoin that somebody puts in and starts up with for the first time, if he gives them also 1 Bitcoin in return, it's going to have a net effect on supply and demand. So you've got 1 coin entering the market, 1 coin leaving the market. It's pretty much net effect. So that's not really going to create a Bitcoin price revolution. It might create a Bitcoin usability or use case revolution, whereby more people will be using it across the world, and drive it into a more public space than what it is now, instead of the sort of niche market area it's currently in. It could possibly work. But it won't influence the price as far as I'm aware. I'm not an economist, but so according to my logic, it won't influence the price. Maybe, okay, I'll stand corrected. It will from a sentiment point of view. If Satoshi starts becoming active, people will definitely take note of this, and there will be some encouragement that he's now showing his face, so to speak, and is active, and gives some validity to Bitcoin, so the price will go up just by sheer sentiment. That's one thing. The other thing that could go wrong, if you look at this is what I would term the Bitcoin apocalypse. Again, this is dependent on how much coin Satoshi actually does hold compared to the global market cap, which is what everybody else is holding, less what he has. Okay, say for example he owned in his stash 3/4 of all the Bitcoin market cap, or even half of the Bitcoin market cap.
Ricardo, sorry to interrupt your ranting. I am Amanda, the virtual co-pilot, and I have information that Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin holding have been estimated at 7.5% of the total Bitcoin market share. Thank you. As you were.
What if he decides, as a cruel joke to everybody who's been amassing Bitcoin over the last 5, 6, 7 years, probably 7 years, and there are some fortunes out there. I think of maybe the Goncalves twins. They've got probably millions stashed away in Bitcoin themselves. What if Satoshi came and said, and used this as a spider trap to create anarchy? Once a certain threshold of predetermined amount of people have converted to using Bitcoin, he releases the Kraken, so to speak, and could even do it on the Kraken exchange, just to kind of reinforce the releasing of the Kraken joke, and releases all of his Bitcoins simultaneously at a very low price, or next to nothing, should he not be monetary inclined and be inclined more towards anarchy. If he doesn't care about money and cares about anarchy, he could sell all his Bitcoins at $0.01 to the Bitcoin, instead of what is today, when I'm doing this article, more or less $465 per Bitcoin. He sells it for 1 cent. The market will go into a selling frenzy, and everybody will be trying to sell off their Bitcoins before other market makers realize that there are Bitcoins out there for 1 cent, and his supply could last for quite a while to satisfy the market's needs for quite a while. Well, I suppose one person will probably buy them all out at 1 cent. And then that will depend, and if one person is shrewd enough to be able to grab all those Bitcoins at 1 cent, they can then decide what to do with it. They can hold the whole Bitcoin system to ransom. They can decide to trickle feed it out and stabilize the price, or they could burn those coins and make them inaccessible. And when you say burn them, you send them to a wallet that will never get used, and I don't know, gets destroyed somehow. If that happens, well, no more Bitcoin, except for the ones that are already in circulation. But because the total number of coins allowable in the system is capped, you can't mine anymore once the mining is finished. So what you're going to do now? Alright, so that was what I would term the Bitcoin apocalypse. So what are the intentions behind Satoshi? Now, any of you who may have recently seen the recent Batman vs Superman, society's skeptical of beings with superpowers. I would say Satoshi, even though he hasn't got the metaphysical superpowers, he's definitely got intellectual superpowers, and definitely this whole that he has on the market is in itself a superpower, for reasons I've just explained. With one action, he can wipe out an entire market. Again, these are all speculations. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm not saying he will do that. I'm not even saying he's got enough coin to be able to pull off something like that. This is all just what if theory, hypothetical stuff. But this is talking about what if someone could corner the Bitcoin market, corner the monopoly, either through the mining aspect, or which is proof of work, or through the proof of stake aspect, which is holding the coins. Yeah, both of those scenarios do not look very good. One that's not too bad is this whole block size debate and all that. Currently the block size is set at 1 megabyte or 1024 kilobytes, which is currently not enough to process transactions in real time. Transactions are processed every, take about 10 minutes to process a Bitcoin transaction. So if they do succeed in increasing the block size to 2 meg, possibly half, probably, taking a guess, it'll be now down to 5 minutes processing time, which is great. What if they don't? What if no one ever does anything with regards to that? I know there's a debate going on. I don't know what's going to come out of it, but if nothing happens, and if the block rewards keep on getting less and less, mining is going to become less and less, verification of transactions are going to reduce dramatically, and the speeds thereof, which means very slow and cumbersome system, much like issuing a bank check and waiting for it to clear 7 days time, a month's time, who knows, depending on how much resources are available on the system, on the mining system. So that's another one. Although it wouldn't happen overnight, I don't believe. So you would have time to prepare. You can have your stop losses in place. If you have a stop loss that your coin will sell out to be convertible to US dollars or any other currency, once it's dropped by 10%, then you're pretty much covered. You won't lose a massive amount. You may have just used 1 year's worth of interest or whatever it may be. So that catastrophe is kind of preventable. It's not an earthquake. It's more of like a slow erosion of the earth sort of thing that you can kind of do something about. Go move to another place or something. Yeah, so those are the 3 things. There are lots of other small risks of basically the coins being stolen, your computer crashing, you losing your wallet address, all those sort of things. But in those things that's an individual, subjective thing, where each person needs to be in charge of and needs to learn how to be in charge of their Bitcoin wallet and their Bitcoins, not leave it in the exchanges. If you've got a substantial sum, don't just leave it sitting there. If the exchange is a centralized one, put it back into your decentralized wallet or your cold storage wallet, which is an offsite wallet. That would be the best, I think. Those are risks of things like Mt. Gox happening again. Mt. Gox was a rogue exchange. Well, it's not really allegedly rogue. They apparently were hacked, whether it's an inside job or not, and whether they didn't hack themselves, that's yet to be seen. I suppose I can't really comment on that. Yeah, those kind of things can happen. So those are normal everyday security risks, and I think people need to be educated. Just can't just go gung-ho and put your coins into a multi-currency wallet on the web that's hosted on a VPS server somewhere in the US, and is not really decentralized and controlled by one admin. And if he dies, who's going to maintain the thing, and whatever, your coins are probably stuck there in that wallet. That's another problem. I mean, I think web-based wallets are very cool, but they're handy for small amounts of transactions, small sums, and not for holding large amounts. I mean, I find it handy just to play around and just transfer funds in and out of exchanges or whatever you need to do, but for long-term storage of large sums, I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, that's it. If anybody has anything to add to this, please comment below, or contact us in any other of our channels that we've listed below as well. Let us know your thoughts of other risks of cryptocurrencies and bitcoins. Tell me of any other currencies that may have a better system to prevent centralization, if there's anything out there. I will try and research something as well, and let me know of any experiences you may have had, any losses you may have experienced, any security breaches you may have had with the cryptocurrencies, and take it from there. Alright, so shorter than my last video, so I hope it wasn't too much to swallow. If I get any sponsors, I will add them on here. I will put their logos up, and thank you again for watching. This is the Crypto Drive, driving crypto into your minds, into your lives, and into the future. This is me, Ricardo F. Goncalves, signing off. Goodbye and have a great day.